Former President Goodluck Jonathan is already facing a lawsuit at the Federal High Court in Abuja on his eligibility to contest the 2027 presidential election. If they are targeting him now that no party has given him the presidential ticket, what will they do if any party declares him their presidential candidate? This lawsuit was filed by one John Mary Jidobi Esquire. He's asking the Federal High Court in Abuja to order a perpetual injunction restraining former President Goodluck Jonathan from contesting any presidential election in Nigeria. So this is not just targeted at Goodluck Jonathan to prevent him from contesting in 2027. They want to make sure Goodluck Jonathan never contests any presidential election going forward. The lawyer also asked the court to bar the Independent National Electoral Commission from accepting from any political party Goodluck Jonathan's name or publishing same as the duly nominated candidate for the presidential election. Also included in the lawsuit is the Attorney General of the Federation, who is listed as the third defendant. The lawyer is asking the court to compel the AGF to enforce whatever order the court will make. One of the questions the lawyer wants the court to determine is whether, in view of the combined provisions on the entirety of sections 1(1), 2 and 3 and 137(3) of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended and their conflated interpretation, the first defendant is eligible under any circumstances whatsoever to contest for the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The first defendant here is Goodluck Jonathan. Continuing, a declaration of this honorable court that upon an intimate reading and complete understanding of the entirety of sections 1(1), 2 and 3 and 137(3) of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, the first defendant, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, is ineligible to stand for or occupy the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. A declaration of this honorable court that in view of the entirety of sections 1(1), 2 and 3 and 137(3) of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, the second defendant, that's INEC, lacks the constitutional power to receive from any political party the name of the first defendant or publish same as the candidate of any political party for the election into the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria holding in 2027 and other years to come. An order of perpetual injunction of this honorable court restraining the first defendant, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, from presenting himself to any political party in Nigeria for nomination as its candidate for the general election into the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, holding in 2027 and other years to come. Continuing with the reliefs sought by the lawyer, an order of perpetual injunction of this honorable court restraining the second defendant, INEC, from either accepting from any political party in Nigeria the name of the first defendant, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, or publishing same as candidate for election into the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, holding in 2027 and other years to come. Also, an order of this honorable court directing the third defendant, Attorney General of the Federation, to ensure compliance with the decisions and orders of this court. Apart from the new constitutional amendment made under Muhammadu Buhari's administration, which we will read in a moment, the main argument this lawyer is making is that if Goodluck Jonathan wins the 2027 presidential election and goes on to serve 4 years, which will terminate in 2031, that will mean that Goodluck Jonathan has stayed in office for more than the 8 years stipulated in the constitution. Mind you, this provision existed before the amendment by Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Now let's see that amendment of section 137 of the 1999 Constitution. That's section 137(3). It says, a person who was sworn in as president to complete the term for which another person was elected as president shall not be elected to such office for more than a single term. Now let's see the second section that was altered the same time. It wasn't only section 137. Section 182(3) says, a person who was sworn in as governor to complete the term for which another person was elected as governor shall not be elected to such office for more than a single term. The person that this one would affect is the current governor of Ondo State, who completed the term of his former boss who passed away. Now he is in his own term, he won the election, he's going to serve out this term, but he will not be eligible to contest for a second term because obviously he will stay in office for more than 8 years. Now back to Goodluck Jonathan. Whenever issues about his eligibility are raised, his supporters always cite one court judgment that says that the law should not act retroactively, that it should not affect Goodluck Jonathan because it was passed after Goodluck Jonathan left office. Mind you, this judgment was never appealed up to the Supreme Court. It shouldn't have anything to do with whether he was in office when it was passed or whether it was passed before he came to office, all that. This is a constitutional amendment that is binding on everyone, any Nigerian citizen. It changes how we do things in Nigeria politically, right from independence. Yes, that's what constitutional amendment means. People confuse this with maybe a criminal committed a crime that never existed in the law books of Nigeria, and the lawmakers in any state or at the federal level decide to pass the law, and people will start arguing that it shouldn't affect the criminal who already committed the crime before the law was passed. Yes, in this case, it should never affect the person because he has already committed the crime before the law was passed. Without the law existing before he committed the crime, there is no way he's going to know that this should be a crime. It's common sense. But we are not talking about criminal law here. We are talking about amendment of the Constitution. There's a difference between the two. Besides, if anyone has eligibility issues surrounding his candidacy, no one is indispensable. Nigerians can always find another person that will not pose a problem. Imagine a party adopting Goodluck Jonathan as their candidate, and at the late hour, a court orders INEC not to recognize him, and that party will not have a candidate going into the presidential election. This can happen. As a matter of fact, it is 100% guaranteed that it will be the playbook of APC. Yes. Tinubu and APC are investing and banking in the South to win the presidential election in 2027. It's very obvious that he has fallen out with the North, especially the Northwest that made him the president. They voted for him. He won Atiku Abubakar in the Northwest. So knowing this, you can understand why the Delta State governor defected to APC, also the Akwa Ibom State governor defected to APC. You cannot expect them to sit idle and fold their arms and see Goodluck Jonathan eat into their votes in the South. Yes, this is reality. They will do everything to make sure no one comes close. And they have started the game already, even before he picks a presidential ticket. So this should serve as a warning to any party wooing Goodluck Jonathan to come and contest and run under their party. This will obviously make sure that that party will not have a candidate in 2027. APC will do it. It's not more than what they have done in the past. The judiciary is in their pockets. They can order them to do anything. How unimaginable and unreasonable that thing is. They wouldn't even close their eyes to do it. They will simply pass the judgment, and you will be crying by the roadside saying, is this how we are going to end? Is this how it's going to end? No. Start now to look for another candidate. No one is indispensable, like already said. Even Peter Obi is not indispensable. If he fails to win the 2027 presidential election, Nigerians must move on and look for another candidate they will back in 2031. The thing about democracy is, it is an eternal vigilance. No one can do it all. Of course, you can say that if you have a prolonged rule under one man, like it happened in countries like Singapore and others, you can have a form of stability. Even if that person is a military man, a dictator, yes, once he's doing all the right things, he can put the country where it's supposed to be. But in another case that you don't have such opportunity, all you need to do is always find the best candidate, and when you find them, always vote for that best candidate. If you continue voting for the best candidate in a space of like 20 years, the candidates will always do the same thing that one person would have done. That's how it works. Thanks for watching.